and welcome to Modern Broadcast. Today I'm walking you through one of my all-time favorite handheld projects, building a Gameboy macro. This mod takes a broken handheld and breathes new life, turning it into a clean, backlit Game Boy Advance handheld that looks and feels amazing. What even is a Game Boy macro? Basically, it's a Nintendo DS Lite that's been modified into a dedicated Game Boy Advance. You ditch the top screen, keep the bottom one, and optionally rehouse the system. It plays Game Boy Advance games perfectly, and thanks to the DS Lite's backlit display, it looks way better than the original Game Boy Advance ever did. Now, I should note, I would not have been able to do this without Repair Resale. They lent me this DS Lite with a broken top screen, which was a perfect donor. And they gave me this custom shell. All I needed to purchase was a 330 resistor, and oddly enough, the hardest part of this build? Some screws. To save anyone else that happens to have one of these 3D printed cases some headache and trouble, try an M2.5 by 12 screw. Let's get this out of the way early. This isn't exactly a beginner-friendly mod. You're gonna have to do some soldering. Specifically, that 330 resistor, it's super teeny tiny, directly onto the motherboard. Otherwise, the screen will flash white, but not actually turn on. Now, it's not impossible, but it is small and delicate work. If you're not comfortable with the soldering iron yet, this might not be the best first project, but you've got a bit of modding under your belt. This one is incredibly rewarding. Once I got the shell open and removed the top screen, I soldered the resistor into place and transferred the internals to this nifty blue shell. Oh my. I took my time aligning everything, the buttons, the screen, the speaker, because a clean fit makes all the difference. If it fits, it sits. Up next, I loaded up an absolute hidden gem, Summon Night, to test everything, and boom, it works. Game Boy Advance games play great, the screen is crisp and vibrant, and it feels like a weird hybrid if the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Micro had a weird square flat baby. Now, you can't play DS games anymore, but that's kind of the point. This is life advanced. Now, before we wrap up, I want to give a proper shout out to the sponsor of today's video, PCBWay. You know, I think this bit's running old. I think we're going to be done with this. But if you're into DIY electronics, game console mods, or custom handhelds like this one, PCBWay is seriously one of the best tools you can have in your arsenal. They specialize in high quality PCBs, prototyping, and manufacturing, and if you're someone who loves experimenting with microcontrollers, mod chips, or even building something totally custom, this is your playground. They also offer assembly services, so if you got a design in mind but don't want to solder 1,000 teeny components yourself, yeah, they'll do it for you. And it doesn't stop there. They've got 3D printing, CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, and even injection molding. So whether you're building a one-off handheld, designing a flash card, or just working on a cool Flipper Zero add-on, PCBWay is perfect for tuning your ideas into reality. They support hobbyists, students, and makers of all kinds. And they're part of what made this video possible. So big thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this video and for supporting weird little modding projects like mine. Oh, and hey, if you're digging this kind of content, you can support the channel over at modernbroadcast.tv. I'm actually rocking one of the new Solem V t-shirts in this video. It's part of our limited Bunny Signal merch drop where it's a bunch of waifu merch. It's only available for a short while, so go ahead, head out modernbroadcast.tv to check that out. Plus, if you become a member, you can enter in the Flipper Zero video game module giveaway. That's right, we're giving this away if you are a Modern Broadcast member, so check it out at modernbroadcast.tv. You know, this Game Boy macro project reminded me of why I love modding. It's creative, it's practical, and it brings life back into hardware that would otherwise be collecting dust. So if you got a DS Lite sitting around, this is one of the coolest transformations you can make. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments if you want a full build guide. Big thanks again to Repair Resale and PCBWay for supporting this video. I'm Mata Broadcast. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.